So thanks, everyone. We appreciate the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you today. I think this is the seventh time we've been standing up here. Over the last 7 years we've been coming, and so I think we have some pretty exciting things to talk about today. I will be speaking first. I'm with Inductive Automation, and I have the privilege of the first speaker, and then we'll have Travis Cox, Co-Director of Sales Engineering, as well as Arlen, President and CTO of Cirrus Solutions. Just to set the table a little bit for today's discussion, I want to mention a couple of things that go back to our CEO, Steve Heckman. He's the founder of Inductive Automation, and he had a mission, which you see on the board there when he started out, to create industrial software that empowers our customers to swiftly turn great ideas into reality by removing all technological and economic obstacles. Steve had the insight, obviously, being out in the field for 20-some years as a systems integrator, that industrial professionals, if they had the tools that they needed, when they needed them, they could change industry for the better, and he set out with that being his task. That's why we created the first industrial, the industrial application software platform, Ignition. And this is a momentous day for us, we want to share with you, because this month, 10 years ago, is when we launched the Ignition platform. It's been adopted by thousands of integrators who implemented Ignition systems in just about every major vertical you can imagine. Manufacturing, automotive, oil and gas, water, wastewater, food and beverage, and the list goes on. It's been adopted by thousands of industrial organizations across those verticals. We're in over 100 and some countries right now. And over those 10 years, we've also added really thousands of powerful features to Ignition, making it a full industrial automation solution for SCADA, HMI, MES, IoT solutions. It's easy installation, modular architecture, unlimited licensing model, things we've talked about over the years in front of all of you, have certainly opened the door for really an enterprise solution that really is capable of serving the enterprise's needs in the world of digital transformation. A lot of leading companies are using it. We're over 54% of Fortune 100 and just under 30% of Fortune 500 are using our platform somewhere in their organization. It has a tendency to kind of seed and grow, if you will. Due to the unlimited licensing model and unlimited projects, you put in a server, and pretty soon you have scope creep, and people all over the organization want to do a project. They want to have something here, something there, and it tends to expand within those organizations. And we really, over those last 10 years, have become more and more committed to helping companies really on this digital transformation journey, and look forward to continuing to making digital transformation easy, which is setting the table a little bit for some of what you're going to hear today. Many of you I've seen over the last 7 years, and you've probably been coming to ARC longer than that, and digital transformation's been part of the theme for the last couple of years. And actually, if you look at the themes beyond that, they certainly were all in the direction of how do we get these companies through their transition? How do we get them up and productive? How do they make the migration? It's been topics of your keynotes and breakout sessions for all these past years. I think it's important enough to at least make the emphasis here of what it has to do with dollars and cents. There's a book out by a guy named Eric Schaefer from Accenture called Industry X.0. He makes this point that the digital disruption and transformation of the industrial sphere is one of the world's current megatrends affecting companies representing 2/3 of global GDP. I guess all that you just say is kind of important, but a lot of enterprises are struggling with how do I get started? How do I make it real? How to really make this something that happens? They get stuck in, pilot project purgatory, as I've heard it called, and they can't scale, and they run into significant challenges. They struggle to realize that full potential that gets talked about in all these sessions for digital transformation. So I think it certainly bears asking the question, what is, if anything, holding it back? We have a view on that. There's a lot of reasons. I'm only going to point out 4 big ones why digital transformation is still difficult. First is difficulty with collecting data at the edge of the network. How many protocols? How many 40-year-old pieces of equipment? What age? The brownfield world that we all live in is the world that we're going to be in for quite some time. So how do you really get the data to even begin to do the digital transformation you need? It's difficult. It's expensive to implement real digital transformation solutions at any scale. Turning data into action is still a challenge, and project development and deployment is oftentimes a very long and pretty difficult process. These pain points have to be solved if we're going to make digital transformation a reality. And as I stated earlier, the mission of our company is to remove obstacles that stand in the way of our customers. We've been working on solving these pain points for years. We've certainly presented at this conference a number of things over the last 7 years in that direction. And I think you're going to see of the points that are going to be presented today that we're really coming full circle and saying, what do we really need to coalesce and bring to full fruition to make digital transformation, as our CEO said at our conference last year, easy, fun, and affordable. Something people want to do, they can do it, they can afford to do it, and it can happen at scale. So we're going to tell you about some new and improved solutions to help enterprises overcome these obstacles, make digital transformation real, and those solutions are new and improved Ignition Edge products, easier access to industrial hardware preloaded with Ignition through our expanded Ignition Onboard program, powerful tools to turn data into smart industrial applications using the Ignition Perspective module, and access to new resources for quick application development through the new Ignition Exchange. So that's just the bullet points, but to tell you more about them and dig into detail on those releases, Travis Cox.
All right, thank you, Don. So let's start with the obstacles and opportunities at the remote edge of the network. Capturing, processing, and visualizing critical data at the edge can be difficult and expensive. That's why we developed the Ignition Edge line of products. So the Ignition Edge products are a line of lightweight, limited, low-cost ignition software solutions that are designed for embedding into field and OEM devices at the edge. They allow you to extend data collection, visualization, and system management all the way to the edge of the network. 3 years ago, at the 2017 ARC Forum, I had the pleasure of introducing Ignition Edge, back then with 3 different solutions: Ignition Edge MQTT, Edge Panel, and Edge Enterprise. Those solutions have been really popular, and as a result, our customers have asked us to do even more with those products. So this year, we are expanding the number of Ignition Edge solutions to 5. That is Ignition Edge Panel, Ignition Edge Compute as a new product, Ignition Edge Sync Services, Ignition Edge EAM, and Ignition Edge IIoT. So let's take a quick look at each of these solutions individually. So first is Ignition Edge Panel, and that enables you to create local HMIs for field devices. It enables standalone HMI functionality for one local client and one remote client at the edge of the network. In addition to the ability to rapidly build industrial HMIs to see and control your processes, Ignition Panel provides one-way email alarm notification, basic trending, and is a local client fallback to a centralized solution. The next one, which is a brand new product we're introducing, is Ignition Edge Compute. And that allows you to use scripting and logic engines at the edge of the network, and to easily add powerful intelligence and web services as well. Edge Compute gives edge devices the ability to do more without needing to depend on a central system or central server. Ignition Edge Sync Services enables you to easily synchronize data from the edge of the network to a central Ignition server using Ignition's powerful gateway network. And it uses distributed services, including distributed tags, history, alarming, auditing, and much more. And of course, it acts as a store and forward node that's really critical in being able to cache data locally. Next is the Ignition Edge EAM product, and this brings the power of the Ignition's Enterprise Administration Module, or EAM, to the edge. So it acts as a remote EAM agent gateway and can easily be combined with any other edge solution I just mentioned for central management. So now you can bring diagnostics, automatic backup and recovery, central licensing, and project and tag synchronization to your edge of network devices. And then to talk about the last Ignition Edge product, Ignition Edge IIoT, I'm going to hand it over to Arlen, who is a co-inventor of MQTT. Couldn't think of anybody better to talk about this product.
Thank you, Travis. It's been kind of amazing. So, like Travis was saying, 4 years ago, we got up here, and it was the first time I'd been to the ARC conference, and we announced this new module for the ignition gateway. It was called MQTT Engine. That was just 4 years ago. 3 years ago, we announced MQTT Edge ignition platform. So the Ignition Edge IoT is that platform that includes an MQTT agent in it, so that all of your tags, all of your process variables, your engineering units, high, low, your timestamp in milliseconds can all be published using MQTT. So really that's what's driven this market, in that, again, Don, Travis, and I had no idea when we came out with an MQTT module 4 years ago where it would evolve to. And now you see the product line that the customers are asking for. It's been pretty incredible. So I got to thinking about this. So 22 years ago, Andy Stanford Clark and I worked on a project with Phillips 66, and we developed this thing called MQTT. But we really didn't have a platform. And you say, Arlen, why didn't that take off? Well, you know, had IBM been an automation company, it probably would have taken off a lot faster. But, you know, they were trying to sell an IT stack that was this big for the MQTT server that was this much of that stack. So that was where I found inductive automation, and we finally had a platform. So again, 4 years ago, we had MQTT Engine, and there was one device in the world. So 4 years ago, we had MQTT Engine, and there was one device in the world that would talk MQTT. 3 years ago, we announced Sparkplug. In other words, let's give some definition to MQTT so that we can be interoperable. Now, we had no idea. We just announced it, said, yeah, we came up with a spec, and it defines an MQTT topic and a payload, and then we know what to subscribe to. So we started socializing that. Well, 1 year ago, because now the customers are coming back, and they're going, Arlen, Don, Travis, who owns that MQTT spec? Well, it's open, it's on our public GitHub repository, but we really needed a home for it. So one of the things today at noon, there was a press release from the Eclipse Software Foundation, and well, I should back up a bit. So last year, one of the announcements that we made is that we took the entire Eclipse specification and all the reference implementation code that we had done, and we contributed that to the Eclipse Foundation. And they started a project called Tahu, and Tahu is the project where that reference code and that specification live for anybody that wants to go out and look at it and implement it themselves. But we decided to take a next step. So the Eclipse Foundation have announced today that they're starting the Sparkplug Working Group. And this is a consortium where we can all get together and agree what are the next features and testing that we're going to do so that Sparkplug truly becomes a standard. So as of today, the founding members are Chevron, Canary Labs, HiveMQ, O-Ring, Inductive Automation, and Cirrus Link. So with that core group, we hope to take this forward. Now, I will mention that you're probably all looking at me and go, Arlen, why didn't we take this through an industrial standards body? Well, software is eating the world. We have to recognize that, can you imagine going to some of the standards? Well, they don't have a Git repo. They don't have a Jenkins build. They're not built to take software and move it into the market quickly. Whereas that is the core functionality of what the Eclipse Software Foundation does. I mean, think of every IDE that we all use in integrated development environment. That is all software that the Eclipse Foundation has put out there. So they are the right body to be able to take a standard, let's get it out in the market, and uniquely, we already have products in production. So it's not like we're inventing something that it might work. It's already out there. We just want to mature it in the market. So, and then the final thing I'll mention is tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock outside of Starbucks, of the members that are here and anybody else that wants to come, we'll have a representative from the Eclipse Software Foundation, 5 o'clock in front of Starbucks, and if anybody wants to know any more about that, please meet us there. So with that, I'll turn it back over.
All right, thanks, Arlen. So as we said earlier, implementing digital transformation is difficult and expensive challenge. We've addressed this by launching the Ignition Onboard program here at the 2018 ARC Industry Forum. The idea behind the program is pretty simple. Combine the industry's leading software with the best hardware to quickly put the power of digital transformation in your hands. So after an amazing response from our customers and from the vendors, we're taking the Ignition Onboard program really to the next level now. So today, we're announcing the launch of the new Ignition Onboard web portal that can be found on our website at inductiveautomation.com/onboard or ignitiononboard.com. So there you can easily find devices with Ignition and Ignition Edge installed, configured, and licensed and ready to go. Just browse by any device type or company name to find the best solution that fits your needs. So we're partnering with these trusted hardware providers who are installing Ignition and Ignition Edge on select devices. All of the onboard devices are IoT ready with MQTT. So to go further with what Arlen was saying, they're fully integrated, they're optimized by the hardware manufacturer for maximum performance, and they're tested and certified by Inductive Automation for seamless compatibility. So these onboard program improvements make it much easier for users to deploy Ignition Edge solutions because the vendor's taken care of all the work for you. It's really simple. It's already ready to go when you get it off the shelf. So the idea is bring it in, plug it in, and let it go. So whatever your IoT or hardware needs go, the Ignition Onboard program should have a device that can meet those needs. So another big obstacle to digital transformation, as we said, is being able to turn your data into action. So the Ignition Perspective module, which we released last April, I can't believe it seems like so long ago, it makes it easy to do just that. With Perspective, our users now have an ideal tool for building mobile-first applications that are native HTML5 and CSS. Perspective is mobile responsive. It automatically fits screens of any size. It runs on any device with a modern web browser. Heck, like my refrigerator has a web browser on it. I can open my home automation system on there. It works with any major operating system from Windows, Linux, and Mac OS to, of course, iOS and Android for phones and tablets. It makes it easy to visualize, monitor, and control systems with features like intuitive touch control and bidirectional data binding. It lets you create smart industrial applications that uses the mobile device's GPS, accelerometer, camera, barcode scanner, and other sensors. As our community has embraced the new data visualization possibilities of Perspective, they've asked us to do even more with it, of course. So since we released Perspective last April, we've already made more than over 280 improvements to the product since then. And it's really becoming a extremely powerful platform and module. But the most exciting thing about Perspective to me is not all the features that it provides, but what our community does with the tools that we put out there. So here are two projects that really showcase the Perspective module's limitless possibilities for data visualization. The first project is one that Corso Systems built for San Bernardino County in California. The county's landfills had a lot of old equipment, and they needed an easy-to-use HMI and data visualization system. Corso Systems teamed up with SES engineers to build a pilot project at one of those landfills. Using Ignition in the cloud, Ignition Edge on site, and the enterprise administration module, they set up a complete enterprise solution. So all the way from sensor to the cloud. They even used a drone to capture 2D and 3D imagery, embedding it into Perspective for pure web visualization. And not only that, they put it into a VR headset so that they can inspect the whole site from anywhere. This pilot project was such a success that they're now rolling it out to 27 more sites. So it's going to be a complete standard across the board for them. Another great project that utilized Perspective is one that ESM Australia did for a large waste management company. So they used Ignition 8 with Perspective, MQTT, and E1 hardware to deliver a cloud-based, mobile-ready, scalable IoT platform that visualizes the status of each food disposal system in close to real time, and also includes other powerful capabilities. The solution exceeded the end user's requirements. It enabled secure data access from anywhere, and it was super scalable because it's all cloud hosted. So as we said, reducing development times while improving the quantity and quality of deployments is crucial to digital transformation. For years, we've offered a resource called Cloud Templates that provided free online vision module templates that people could upload to the cloud that anybody can use. And it was a great project, but it was limited in scope. It just focused on the vision module. And as you may know, there's a lot of things you can develop inside the Ignition platform. So the release of the Perspective module really, and Ignition 8 propelled us and gave us an opportunity to expand and improve upon that concept of cloud templates. The result is the Ignition Exchange, which is a free online marketplace full of community-built resources. So the Ignition Exchange allows users to share any resource from Ignition. So it can be screens, views, alarm pipelines, reports, scripts, and much, much more. These resources are created by the community and also members of the Inductive Automation team. Currently, there are over 80 resources that are free and public on the Exchange today, and that number is going up constantly. But not only that, customers can share things publicly, but they can put up their resources for private use only and within their organization. So we'll host all of their resources that they've built. Because it helps Ignition users to quickly start and efficiently complete their Ignition projects, the Exchange provides users with an incredible competitive edge, and it works really great with the Perspective module. In fact, a lot of people get going very quickly with that module by going and downloading resources that are on the Exchange today. So the Exchange makes developing industrial applications quicker and easier than ever. And to talk more about implementing these solutions for enterprise, I'm going to turn it back over to Don.
Thanks, Travis. I think you'd see the goal of this overall activity is really to try and take the pain out of digital transformation. But I think if you take a look at even the philosophy behind something like the Exchange, it's something that we're extremely committed to at Inductive Automation is we're not the full answer, we're a piece of the puzzle. And there's tremendous talent and expertise out there. Travis and I met with multiple partners that ended up on our Onboard when we went to Taipei in December, and I was just amazed at the amount of technology and the amount of expertise that exists there among those manufacturers just in that particular environment. You really have to think about this as an inclusive ecosystem that grows and brings best of breed. So at the end of the day, the industrial organizations end up being the winners. We've added a lot of tools you can see here in terms of data collection, scripting, and visualization with Ignition Edge products that you saw, powerful, affordable, IoT-ready Ignition integrated hardware solutions with the Onboard, new Ignition Perspective, HTML5 industrial applications for any device, and project developments. It's never been faster, easier, thanks to the new resources that are happening on the Ignition Exchange. Now, as Travis mentioned, you can have them private, you can share them within your own organization, or you can make them public. Our encouragement is we want to share as much as we possibly can because that unleashes the innovation. And more people get a hold of it, the better it's going to be. So I think I just want to finish and then go into some Q&A by just mentioning something that's been evolving over the last 5-6 years with us. And that's the partnership relationships that we have with companies and expertise in various domains that bring strength, I think, to this whole ecosystem. The Ignition ecosystem includes certainly third-party module developers and our strategic partners like Cirrus Solutions and Sepasoft. And also, I think they provide real expertise in the MQTT MES area, but then you go beyond that. You're going to see us evolve the discussions and probably be announced as we go into next year with other areas of expertise. We have some strong relationships now evolving in the life sciences area. We are not the vertical experts. We want to be that core technology that brings people together. So right now, our ecosystem has over 2,300 integrators in it. They have skills and domain expertise across multiple areas. It also includes, I think, if you look at the global support that's happening right now, we launched last year our distributor program. Right now, the distributors then will provide support in a local language, training, customer service in more places around the world. So far, what we've established is distributorships in Italy, in China, Australia, and France. We have 4 more lined up for the first half of this year. And Annie Wise, the Director of International Distribution, has a pipeline going out as we evolve. The same thing is true with the Onboard program. You saw who's on there right now, but we have a pipeline of companies going through the lineup with Travis and the sales engineering team to qualify their devices so we make sure we give you that seamless experience when you're building out your architectures. So I would just say if you combine those efforts, if you think of the efforts of strategic partners, integrators, distributors with our own training programs, our educational partnerships, Inductive University, we just brought on a person full-time called our University Outreach Manager, and his job is basically to evolve Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, Arizona State, Purdue, Clemson, University of Granada, We are going to go across the top 200 universities across the world and provide them with educational copies of our software so that they can actually train that next generation of engineers with the technologies they need to get into tomorrow. I think there's business model changes that are needed as well as technology changes that are needed if we're going to not get stuck in yesterday and really empower organizations to create tomorrow. And I believe all of those things kind of are a combination of bringing people together to assist in their digital transformation efforts. And the community needs, if I think about it, we're one of the players in the community. The ecosystem provides that sort of complete solution, if you will, but it's really happening because of you. And when I say you, I don't just mean you, the media, that's an important role, but you, the industrial organizations and the integrators that are given that feedback loop. So I think that's really critical, that feedback loop says, if we don't, with a passion, focus on the challenges of that organization, that industrial organization trying to really digitally transform, that should be the focus of all our efforts, and we build our systems around that. We don't try and have a preconceived idea of what we should be and then force everybody to fit it. We have to work in reverse and put the customer first. And I think, I just want to say something that I also read in Industry X.0 that stuck with me. There's a whole chapter there on platforms and ecosystems. And the author says that ecosystems are built around intellectual property stemming from one core partner. I would say that our desire is just to continue to be that core partner for making digital transformation easy, fun, and affordable, and to be a catalyst to bring together the people, the organizations, the technologies, and the systems that are necessary to make it a reality. So we're really excited about what we're able to announce today. We have a couple of minutes left for questions. I'm going to ask Travis and Arlen to walk back up here, and over to you guys.